Hi Dreamers, this is going to be a more personal one. Many of you have asked how I got the capital in the first place to invest, that $1.5 million or $3 million net worth. And I've thought a lot about how to answer that because it's not a quick response. I could just say that I worked hard, but that wouldn't be very helpful. So I've decided to drip out a video series over time, interspersed between stock videos that tell the story of how I made my dreams come true with actual tools and approaches that I have found to work. The reason why I do want to tell you is because it is actually a repeatable path, and I wish someone had given me a financial roadmap to reference in my life. So here's what I'll do. I'll follow a dreams structure that I've come up with and let you guess what each letter stands for. There'll be 6 videos in the series, which I'll release at various times over the next few months. And I'll give you the answer to the first letter, which will be the topic of the first video at the end. But to give you a preview, a little about my story. My parents arrived in the US with suitcases, and there was no family money to speak of. I started working at age 16 and actually used birthday money I'd saved for years to buy my first car. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,000 to $3,000, and I bought it from some guy, for sale by owner. Now, I'm not allowed to swear on here, but let's just say it was pretty much a piece of junk, with brakes that went out, upholstery that was worn. But hey, it was the first thing of value I'd ever purchased, and it was all mine. I got a job at $4.25 an hour, and I paid for insurance and gas as a teenager. I was excited. But of course, almost immediately, life's hurdles came my way. My car was stolen, likely for parts. And because I took the bare bones insurance to be able to afford it, I had left off theft coverage, since I couldn't imagine anyone would want it. That was a hard lesson. Plan for emergencies. And that left me without a way to get around to my job or get to school. And there was no place I was going to get the money for a new car. So at the age of 16, I got my first loan. I didn't have cash anymore, so I had to go to a dealership to try to get a car through financing. Another hard lesson learned. Cash is king. I also needed someone to co-sign since I was underage, but make no mistake, that loan was in my name. I remember it being a giant amount of money. It was somewhere around $4,000 or $5,000. And I started doing the math. $5,000 at $4.25 an hour is 1,176 hours. And if I worked 16 hours every weekend, that's 74 weekends. So basically, I'd have to work the rest of high school to pay for it. But I also needed to start covering some food and clothes costs too, as well as help with driving for the family. And there was no such thing as Uber at the time, so this was the only option. I was an athlete, but I gave up sports because I needed the money. Another hard lesson early on. I hated that I had to go to work when my friends were hanging out. That feeling of being trapped with little to no option. But I worked overtime and all the time and finally paid off that car right before heading to college. And you know what? You're not going to believe this. Right around that time, my family really needed some money. So I gave over the keys to the car with a promise of pay me back when you can. And I started over with zero. That's the beginning of the story of how I made my passive income dreams come true. And the D for the first video stands for debt, because that's where we all pretty much start. And over the course of the next decade in my life, after turning 18, I had to acquire and navigate almost every type of debt instrument imaginable to try to launch off of that from scratch starting line. There was no visible financial path forward for me, and I knew nothing of having money, investing, or retirement. So I made my own map. Although this is just an introductory backstory, I promise the other videos in this series will have actual tools and thought processes I used to dig out and flourish. and there'll be goodies in there for any age or life stage. But if you're only interested in stock talk and my investment moves now, that's fine too. I'll have many more videos like that. It's just, I never started this channel to attract the kind of hedge fund and investment managers that seem to follow and private message me now. I never started it to be a YouTube star or make any money at this. I started it so that a kid or woman like me could see themselves, their future self, and say, I can do it. I'm not alone. There's someone out there that has done it. It's going to be okay. Well, that's it for today. As a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor, so keep in mind these videos for entertainment and inspiration only. I'll see you on the flip side.